For any of you listeners out there that want to fast forward to the gaming news section, go to minute marker 38. That's when the gaming news starts. Thank you guys so much and enjoy the show. This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we get a small but promising piece of Hellblade 2 news. Jim Ryan explains why Sony decided to release a all-digital PlayStation 5. Destiny 2 is coming to both Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and we could be getting a new Okami game very, very soon. All of these stories can be found here and more in episode 132 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I want to say thank you and welcome to another episode. We're gonna have a very, very good time. I'm very happy to be here, and shout out to everyone that is here in the circle right now. Now, guys, if you want to listen to some previously recorded, you know what? I'm tired of saying that line right now. Listen, if you want to find the podcast and you might have just stumbled across it and you want to just listen to some other podcasts of the show that were pre-recorded, you can go over to Google, type in the Analog Circle podcast, and enjoy yourself. It'll take you to where you need to go. I'm tired of talking about SoundCloud and all of these other platforms that it's on. Just go out there, type it into Google. That's all I got to say. Now, guys, I want to go ahead and get into the feedback section because, yes, it is by far my favorite part of the podcast. And what I'm going to start doing is at the beginning of every podcast, if you want to skip just to the gaming news, I'm going to make sure that I let you guys know where that can be found. Now, if you, the listener out there listening right now, I'm talking to you that's driving down the highway. I'm talking to you that's sitting at your table in the house. I'm talking to you that's at work on your lunch break. Yes, you. If you want to be a part of the show, you can do that two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. So, guys, I want to go ahead and get things started with Mr. Vaughn with his voicemail. So, without further ado, Mr. Vaughn, you have the floor, my brother.
What's going on, Kiaun? It's Vaughn. Can't wait to hear the next show after that PS5 reveal event. I know you're going to jump on that. For me, I got to say, both hype trains are rolling. Now we got a competition. We got Xbox and PlayStation jumped into the game. All right. My first impressions were I love the fact that they had games for everybody, old, young. They had stuff that is coming out this holiday. Maybe I hope some other things get updated for this holiday. The one thing that Sony consistently does that I don't like is they always show things that we won't see it again for, 5 more years, and then it'll be coming out on holiday of the 6th year. So I wish they would kind of tighten that up a little bit. But that's Sony. That's how they roll. Everything was supposedly from the PS5, the footage that they showed. So hopefully that's great because everything looked good. Moving on to the PS5 itself, with the 2 SKUs, they beat Xbox to the punch with the digital, releasing the digital format, digital only. So now the question is, does Xbox drop the price for what their 2 SKUs are going to be? Are they even going to bring out the second SKU at this point? I think they will, just to keep everything competitive, but we'll see. And my question for you this week, moving on to my question, is do you remember in 2007 there was a game called the Orange Box that came out? Very popular. I love that game. there was supposed to be a follow-up called the Black Box that got canceled. If you were in charge of doing the Black Box today, what 5 games would you put in that compilation? Again, can't wait to hear the next show, man. Keep doing what you do. We're out here for you. We got your back. Peace to everybody in the circle. This is Vaughn. I'm out. Peace.
Vaughn, my dude, Vaughn. Listen, brother, thank you for the voicemail. It is truly appreciated. And I tell you, I look forward to hearing from you every single week. And I gotta say, brother, first off, you're gonna be maybe a little upset with me this week, brother, because your second question, because I want to jump right into your voicemail. A lot of good stuff here, brother. Now, the orange box, I remember that very well. I believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, Vaughn, but I believe that had the Valve games in it, right? I think it was Half-Life 2, Episode 2, something like that. It had Portal in there, and it had Team Fortress. I think all of them were in the same box, a 3-for-1 kind of deal, which I had that game years ago, and I didn't even play it, Vaughn. I didn't get a chance to really get into the game back then. I got it from a friend, actually, and it was something I wasn't very interested in to begin with, so it never really got played. But I mean, it's Half-Life, brother. That is a classic doggone game in the gaming industry. It's a GOAT, as it were. But for me, I know you were asking me what 5 games would I put in the black box that was supposed to release. Brother, I tell you, I didn't quite understand the question, Vaughn. I didn't know if you wanted me to say 5 Valve games or just 5 random games in the box, and if it could be action adventure or all first person shooters. I just wasn't sure exactly what the criteria would be. Criteria. Did I say that right, brothers? Criteria? Yeah, man. Oh, man, I'm putting my words to good use. I didn't know what you wanted me to actually put in there as far as the criteria. If it was first-person shooters, action, adventure, I don't know. Just tell me, Vaughn. I'd be happy to answer that for you, brother. But as far as getting into the other part of what you were talking about with the PlayStation 5, oh yeah, brother. Let me tell you, they showed some great stuff. Competition is definitely heating up. It is, brother. When we saw Sony come out there, god dog, and they showed off the second SKU, the all digital version of the PlayStation 5, and brother, we got some news on that. We're gonna be going over a little bit later in the podcast, Vaughn. But I don't think anybody saw that coming. Once again, they've beaten Microsoft to the punch. Now, what does Microsoft do? Do they release the Lockhart, or do they hold off? I know you said that is the question. What are they going to do? They have put Microsoft in a very interesting position. I couldn't agree with you more, Vaughn. And then you brought up the point of Sony always bringing up these games or showing these games, and they're like 10 years away, 50 years away. We'll see them this year, and they won't release on the store shelves until 2026. Brother, it was a lot of games they showed that had no release date. So that is another very, very interesting thing. Is Sony going to follow that same exact model that they followed this whole generation? Because this generation, I'm sure that Sony has had to have seen that midway through, they started slowing down, even to the point where that last E3 that they had, everybody was confused and dazed. Like, what is going on with this? They doggone had everybody in a tent, trying to replicate what was going on in The Last of Us 2, and then they moved everybody from the tent to the main hall, and the guy was playing the flute for Ghost of Tsushima, brother. I said, man, this is interesting. I don't know what's going on here. So, Vaughn, you are absolutely right, brother. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, but no doubt The competition is definitely heating up. Vaughn, I truly thank you for calling in, brother. It's always great to hear from you. And please, 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 brother, keep the great questions and feedback coming. I really appreciate it, brother. Now let's go ahead. We're going to move into the next email here, and this is from an OG of the show right here. You guys know I always talk about this brother because he kept this section of the podcast alive. We're gonna go ahead with Mr. Cody Clark. Now, the title of his email is Back in a Saddle. He says, howdy, K. Oh, I like the way you link those two up the saddle along with howdy. I see you, brother. He says, got the call yesterday from the company and I'm back full time at work. Congratulations, man. That's excellent news. He said, I'm so thankful. He says, so I am thankful and very privileged to be full-time again, which is both good and confusing. After almost 3 months, my brain is a bit mush and my belly is still there. He says, your question about game prices makes me remember all the way back to the old NES days when some games were going for $70 and $80 per cartridge. I remember that. He says, it seems very few new games seem to be willing to go for over $60, especially when they are so much more buggy and not feature complete nowadays. With all the DLC and streaming content and games as services, I can't really imagine games costing 70, 80, or 90 bucks right out of the gate when you could drip feed us the price over a few months or years. Heck, I've spent $60 extra dollars in Fortnite just for Star Wars and Marvel skins. If I had to start off by paying 90 to 100 bucks first, I'd be very sour. If I needed to spend double that for quote premium content. But then again, AAAs and QQs about the cost of games going up and up, but I don't know. With some of the amazing stuff smaller, more agile studios and creators can do, I call bull hockey. Then again, back in the old 80s of PC games, there were lots of games that were $20 to $30, and they slowly crept up to $50 and $60. So who knows? As many people point out, game prices seem to have avoided much of the inflation of other products over the last 40 years. Cody Clark, brother, it's great to hear from you. Once again, congratulations on being back to work. That is absolutely fantastic news, brother. After a 3-month hiatus, I'm very, very happy that you're back full time. That is excellent. Excellent news to hear, brother. Congratulations on that again. But to get into your email, Cody, now I definitely appreciate this email, brother. Now, one of the great points that you made was the DLC content. Nowadays, you're right, and they can drip feed us that DLC, and that price, that $60 price, like you said in your email, Cody, it can go up to $70, $80, $90, all the way up to $100. So because of that, you feel that it's a possibility. I know you said that you're not ruling out the fact that games could go up, because you did mention the PC back in the 80s, where games were $20 and $30, and they slightly kept increasing and increasing until they're at the full-fledged $60 price point that we have today. So I definitely hear you on that point, brother. And like you said, too, over the last 40 years, game prices seem to have been stable and hasn't seen so much inflation as other things have, like meats and stuff. Man, I went to the store to price. This was like 3 months ago. I went and got some steaks, and then I went back this month to see, how much steak prices were. Man, steaks then went up like $12, brother. I don't know what the heck is going on. I understand Corona's out here, but I mean, steak prices have gotten very expensive. So just like you said, just getting back to your point, Cody, game prices, they seem to have stayed the same, and they have this DLC model that's been in play since the 360 PS3 era that helps them to get that money that they could possibly need to substitute the cost of how much these games cost to make. So, Cody, I truly thank you for this email. Once again, congratulations being back to work, brother. I know you said that it's been a little tough, or try to get back into the swing of things after having so much time off. But I know that after a couple of weeks, brother, you're going to be, like you said, right back in the saddle, man. I appreciate you writing in, Cody, and please keep on writing in, brother. It's so very appreciated, man. Now, let's go ahead and get into the next email. And this is from my guy, my dude, man. This guy's all right with me, I must say. Mr. Subset Tekken. Now, I saw you sent me two of them, brother. I saw you sent me the one about Saga, and you were saying that they dropped the ball, brother. And let me see. You had basically said that the announcement, it wasn't quite what you were expecting, brother. You said, good grief. They could have said Virtual Fighter was coming out, or you even made a joke and said a Joe Exotic shooting game was could even been coming out. But the information that they gave, it just didn't live up to your expectations, nor did it live up to mine, brother. So I wanted to mention that to let you know I did get that email. But I want to jump into your latest email that you sent me, and that one is entitled, "Wow, Sony is some next gen-ish." And he says, "Hello, Kiaun. What's going on? What's up? Set Tekken again, brother." He says, "The PlayStation 5 show was just wowing me over and over again. He says, I didn't really think I'd be excited for a PlayStation 5, but Sony has changed my mind. I'm not a Ratchet and Clank fan, but give me Spider-Man Holiday 2020, give me Resident Evil 8 and Deathloop Ghostwire. Sony has outdone themselves. What did you like from the show? GTA 5 on PlayStation 5? I know, brother, I know." He says, "Who would have thought? What other game has jumped 3 consoles?" That's a good point. He says, "I'm not a Hitman player, but man, I'm thinking about trying to play some of the older games." I'm running long on this email, so I'm going to wrap it up. Keep the podcast going. I love what you're doing. Straight out of Okami. Oh man, I hope I get this right because you broke it down for me. Hold on. Let me get it. He's telling me where he's from, brother. He is from Okami, North Carolina. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah, that's a good point. I never ask you guys where y'all are from. In your emails or your voicemails, let me know where you guys are from, man. I mean, you guys know I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, so I would love to hear where you guys are writing in or calling in from. So yeah, that's a good point. Shout out to you, What's Up, Set Tekken. Now to get into your email, brother, like I was talking about with Vaughn, man, they showed some good stuff, man. Let me see. For me, now you were asking me what was I excited about, right? What big announcements, that they do for me that got me hyped up. I'm gonna tell you, brother. First off, Spider-Man, freaking fantastic. Miles Morales. Then they showed off Ratchet and Clank. You guys know how much I have been a fan of Ratchet and Clank, brother. Fantastic game. If you guys haven't got it on the PlayStation 4, I am begging you. I think it's $20. Get that game if you are into platformers in any kind of way. That game is absolutely excellent. I gave that game like a 9.5 out of 10. One of the highest scores I've given a game this generation. But Horizon 2, that was another game I was excited about. Man, oh man, that game looked good. Sackboy Big Adventure. I was pretty excited about that. Returnal, Kena, Bridge of Spirits. I had to look at that again because I did do a review. My thoughts and feelings about the show of the PlayStation 5 reveal event. I did do a show on that, but I look back at some of these games afterwards, and I gotta say, man, I was a little hard on Kena Bridge of Spirits. That game looks really good, so I was pumped up about that one subset. Also, Oddworld Soulstorm was great looking, and the other game, Little Devil Inside, man, I was like, oh, this looks so interesting. Now, the thing is, they showed 26 games off, and out of that 26, I really liked 8 of them, with a possibility of me liking 5 other ones. So you figure 13 out of the 26 games that they showed, I really liked. Like I said, 8 out of them I really liked. The other 5, I was like, man, I might could see myself playing that. So for me, basically half of the games they showed, I was into for the most part. So I thought that's why I gave them a 8 out of 10. I thought it was a fantastic showing. The production was excellent. If you want to hear my thoughts though, and I'm not trying to plug it, but just so I don't take up too much time from this show, if you do want to hear what I thought about the show, definitely just download that, brother. I think it was like 41 minutes long, and you could get my full thoughts on it there. But one subset, Tekken, straight from Lucama, North Carolina. Shout out to you, brother. I really appreciated this email, and please, brother, continue to keep them coming. I really appreciate it, man. Now I know, Cody, you had sent me another email, brother, and you were talking about, basically it looked like you weren't even that moved on the show, brother. I'm telling you, look, Cody, hey, you my dude, brother. You are my brother. I mean, I rocks with you the long way, but I don't know how you could have seen nothing that you liked at the show. But you know what, brother? It's your right to feel that way. I'm not even gonna harp on it, but thank you for writing in though with that. Up next, we have Mr. Michael Jakunski. What's going on, brother Mike J? Now, the email that he wrote in, the title of his email is called Question of the Week. Now, he says, hello, Kiaun. What's going on, Mike J? He says, just wanted to chime in on your question of the week. Surprisingly, video game prices have stayed pretty stable throughout the history of the industry. Sure, we have had some brother, you gave me a tongue twister right here, brother. Let me get it together. Let me calm down and let me say my words, brother. He says, sure, we have had some volatility. Brother, you went into the vault with that one, god dog. During the 16-bit days, with some cartridges hitting the $70 to $80 and even $100 mark. But publishers have been able to find ways to reduce costs and keep pricing pretty stable. Things like optical media to reduce manufacturing costs, the advent of paid DLC to squeeze a few more dollars out of the customer, digital distribution, which keeps more of the money in the publisher's pocket. Oh man, that's a good point. And even things like battle passes, which generate income, also players can get a new hat for their virtual paper doll. I wouldn't be surprised if games saw a slight increase in pricing in the near future, but I feel that the publishers will look to keep the point of entry fairly consistent and find new ways to earn, quote, post-purchase, end of quote, income and sales. And besides, who wants to be known as having the more expensive games, especially in the current economic climate? You ain't lying there, brother. He says, keep the base price the same so the initial purchase doesn't hurt as much, and then find a compelling reason for the players to give you more money. Keep up the good work and stay safe. Mike J, I appreciate this email. I'm telling you, y'all don't understand. As a person that does a small podcast, to hear from you guys on a weekly basis, it truly is fuel to keep me going. So, I mean, when I say that I appreciate it, I don't want y'all to think it's just a routine thing like, oh yeah, let me say I appreciate it. No, I really, really do. It truly means a lot to hear from you guys on a weekly basis because y'all keep the conversation going and y'all keep me excited, man. So shout out to you, Mike J. And let me get into your email. Now, like I said, brother, it is great to hear from you. And once again, thank you for the email. Now, very good points. Now, it looks like you and Cody are on the same page, actually. Now, it's like you said, Mike J. You think that publishers will keep entry costs about the same and continue to find new ways to basically pimp out that post-purchase content. I think they've been doing a really good job, too. I mean, EA, they're talking about they made millions just off a certain DLC. So it's definitely a model that has worked. And it's like you mentioned too in your email, like I was just saying, EA, they have their thing. Then you have Battle Pass or, new maps. And even like Cody said, new skins for your character. That brother said he spent quite a bit of money on those Marvel skins. So it's things like that. Like you said, they can keep the cost down initially, like both of you guys were basically alluding to. They drip feed you the content. They get you in at a low price. And then once you're in the ecosystem, once you're playing the game, they go ahead and give you little things here and there to give you more reason to spend money on the same product over and over again. Now, I did appreciate the fact that you said also who wants to be known as the more expensive platform. The games that cost more expensive, whether that's EA, whether it's Ubisoft, whether it's Microsoft, Sony, whatever the case, who wants to get that kind of bad PR where it's like all of a sudden you got to pay this for this game? And also, to your point too, now we are about to shift into a very interesting time, because you have Microsoft out there that are actually giving you the subscription. Like a real subscription model to their games, $10 a month with Game Pass, and it covers all of their exclusives, day and date. You have EA, they're doing the same thing. Ubisoft, they're doing it on the PC. Sony, we don't know if they're going to go day and date. They are one of the bigger names out there that we don't know where they're going to go when it comes to that. But that's also another model that they can use to keep the price and cost down. $10 a month. Who doesn't want to pay that for a game day and date? So I definitely hear you, Mike J. Like I said, you and Cody, y'all seem to be about on the same wavelength. And you did also say that you're not ruling out the fact that maybe some years from now, games could become more expensive, but that'll probably be sometime in the near future. So, and then, man, good grief, you just made me think about something, and this is kind of far-fetched, but with a possible hike some years down the road, or who knows, maybe we still get it this next generation. Nobody knows yet. But how much more appealing would a subscription service be where you can say, look, I can pay $70 for a game? It's like that today. I can pay $60 right now for a game, or I can just pay $10 a month and I can play not only that game, but 99 other games in that same service. So it's definitely going to be an interesting time in gaming coming up in this next generation and for these further years to come. But, Mike J, I truly appreciated this email. Thank you so much, man. And please continue to write in. Mike J tried to give me some advice though, man. I gotta shout you out publicly, brother. When the PlayStation show was happening, I was on the road, man. And like I say, E3 is totally different this year. It's not even E3, but the gaming conferences over the summer are so different this year that usually it happens in a week and I can take off the days I need to take off. But because things are so scattered right now, it's been tough. And Mike J said, well, and I wanted to be excited. I wanted to be pumped up when I talked about it. Mike J told me, hey, brother, go on a media blackout, brother. I said, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold on, man. That's going to be like 3 days. I don't know if I can do it. Mike J, I'm going to tell you, brother. I couldn't hold on, brother. I couldn't do it, man. I could not do it. What I did decide to do, though, I was driving, so I couldn't really see the show. All I could do was really hear what was going on for the most part. And what I did do, which it still kept the excitement there, was I didn't watch it again until I could report on it and talk about it. And it did keep the excitement level for me at a pretty high point because I was coming fresh off of it and talking about it. So shout out to you, Mike J, man. I appreciate you, brother, and continue to write in, man. Thank you so much. Now we have, I believe, one more email here. Yes, we do. We have Mr. Man, it's my dude, man. Shout out to you. A Free Fly Ferret. Brother, I saw your setup in the group, the Analog Circle group on Facebook. Man, that is a dope setup. Good grief. I couldn't believe I missed that, man. Congratulations. You're in your new home. And man, brother, I definitely want that kind of setup. Shout out to you, brother, and tell Alice I said hello, man. But let's go ahead and get into your voicemail. Now, the title of his email is called Sprinkle. I believe it's Sprinkles. Oh man, okay. He says, my brother, PlayStation 5 looked good. Not going to lie. On the fence about the design. No, he says on the fence about the design, but it's bold, and I like that they stepped out of their comfort zone. Yes, they did, brother. Yes, they did. He said this next generation is shaping up to be an epic one. He continues to say, kudos to Vaughn. Kudos to you, brother Vaughn. If you're listening, kudos to you, brother. He's giving you props for his question last week. Loved it. I grew up in the arcade and sure do miss those magic moments. If you could have any classic cabinet, in your house, what would it be? I would love to have Galaga. Classic. Free Fly Ferret. God dog. Shout out to you, brother. Man, if I could have a classic cabinet. By the way, talking about the PlayStation 5's design, man, I absolutely loved it. It was bold. It was great looking. Well, if you want to hear it, man, just listen to the other podcasts I did. But I don't want to, just have you holding on too long to get my answer about the cabinet that I would like. But I would have to say, brother, man, the first cabinet that came to my mind, if I could have just enough space to house any arcade machine, and I know this is going to sound weird, but I would absolutely love to have the 6-player X-Men arcade game. God dog, had a lot of great memories on that arcade machine, brother. Having Cyclops, having Wolverine, having Colossus to play. What was the other guy? The blue guy. I'm forgetting his name. But the 6 characters that were included, good gosh, I had been waiting. I was hoping that one day somebody would bring that out on console. I know it's by Konami, I believe. They made it. I was hoping that they would have brought that same version home by now. But that would be the dream, brother. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to tell y'all one day about a chance I had to actually own an arcade machine. I was 13 years old. I'm going to have to tell y'all about that in a Kiaun Vince or something. But man, that was a heck of a story. But that would definitely be the arcade machine I would go for. That and even Daytona USA. I mean, great memories. That's why I actually bought the steering wheel, the Thrustmaster steering wheel that I don't even use. It's a P10 model wheel or whatever. I don't know, man. I bought it. It's still in the box. But that was the reason why. But yeah, man. I mean, also Michael Jackson, Moonwalker, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, brother, Oh, man, all of those joints, man. All of them. But if I had to only choose one, and that was the only one, I would go with the X-Men joint, man. That joint was just amazing to me. But, man, like I say all the time, brother, Free Fly Ferret, it's so great to hear from you, brother. I'm so happy once again that your move went well and your family is settling in. Congratulations on the new home, brother. And, with that being said, like I said, tell Alice I said hello, your daughter. She seems like a very, very nice sweetheart. And yeah, man, that's about it though, brother. But thank you so much, man. So with that being said though, guys, we are going to go ahead and get into, matter of fact, before I do all of that, let me shout everybody else out again. Shout out to Mike J. Shout out to Free Fly Ferret. Shout out to Vaughn. Shout out to Cody, and shout out to One Subset Tekken for all of your responses and your feedback this week. Thank you guys again. Now, moving into what I have been into this week though. Man, I ain't been into nothing. Absolutely nothing. I did try a little bit more Death Stranded. I did. Actually, earlier this week, I was playing that game, and god dog, man, I don't know what's going on, brothers. I don't know. It started off like such a hot game. The joy started off like, man, it shot out of a cannon. But now, brother, now that I'm about 2-3 more hours in, ooh, yikes. I don't know, brother. I don't know. I'm starting to struggle a little bit. It's not a lot of action going on. It's not a lot of stuff going on in the world. I got the bike. I thought the bike was going to make it easier. I got the battery charged or whatever for the bike, and the bike is non-playable. You can't even play with the bike in the world because it hits all of these rocks. You're just better off walking. I don't know, man. I'm on the fence again, brothers. I'm like, oh. And I got like I got 10 hours into this game. So it's not like I quit after an hour or two. It's starting to drag really, really bad. If I paid $60 for this game, I ain't gonna lie, I would be highly upset. But since I paid $30 and they gave me all of the DLC, it does lighten the blow a little bit. But nah, man, I don't know if this is the answer. I had to report back to y'all in another week or two. But right now, it ain't looking good. Not nearly as good as it started out looking. But outside of that, that's all I've been into, guys. So without further ado, now that we are a whopping 36 minutes into the podcast, let me ask you guys a question. Would you guys prefer for me? Now, this is just me throwing this out there to you listeners. Would you guys prefer for me to do a separate show of the feedback section and the actual podcast, like the news and stuff? Or do you guys want me to keep it the same? It's up to y'all, because like I said, I appreciate you guys being very, very patient and understanding about the time that the podcast might run for. But I do want to be cognizant of you guys' time, and not take up too much of it. So would you guys rather me, keep the format the same, or would you guys rather me just record the feedback and the podcast separately? But anyway, without further ado, just let me know though, really. I would love to hear from you guys about that. But let's go ahead though, guys, without further ado. And let's go ahead and get into what we all come here for on a weekly basis. And that is for the gaming news that went down. And y'all gonna have to pardon me because my voice is still shot, brothers. God dog, I got the raspy voice on. But let's go ahead and let's talk about Death Stranding since I was just talking about it. I don't know if I even mentioned this before, but that game actually got delayed on PC until July 14th, 2020. So if you guys were expecting it this month on the PC side, it's been delayed because of Corona. Corona. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about Okami, because we got some new Okami news this week from Okami Nakamura. Now you might remember her from the Ubisoft presentation of Ghostwire at last year's E3 show. Now she has also worked on The Evil Within. This is her resume. The Evil Within, Bayonetta, and of course Okami. So while sitting down with IGN Japan, she said that a new Okami game is, quote, the project that she wants to make a reality the most, end of quote, and that after quarantine is over, she's planning to go to Capcom to, quote, propose the idea. Now, she went as far as to say she believes that the chances are very high that Capcom will greenlight the project, and that she would want Hideki Kamiya to direct it. Now, if you don't know what he's done, he actually did the first Okami. So, I mean, it would make sense that she would want him back on the project. And she also said, Nakamura, and there is still, this is the quote. She says, there is still a lot to tell in that universe, end of quote. So, I mean, it looks like, we could possibly, we all know that things don't come true. I looked at the PC show this week, hoping that, the Telltale game was coming back, the Walking Dead, but it was going to be by Skybound. That didn't happen. So that was a false rumor. It said it was supposed to be at the PC show and it didn't happen. So we know that things don't always come true, but I think Okami has enough of a legacy built up where it was released back on the PlayStation 2 era, and it even released up until this Xbox One era where they've remade it, and the game had a beautiful art style to it. I think that a lot of people would love to see that game again. It did very well. It scored very, very high, and I'm sure everybody would love to see a sequel, or at least a lot of people would love to see a sequel to this. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next story. So it looks like going forward, now this is some interesting news. I feel like I left something out in that last story with Okami, but if I remember it, I'll bring it back up. But Microsoft, they are doing something, they're doing things actually a little different when it comes to those pack-in codes with the purchase of a new console. So instead of having to type in those lengthy codes for DLC or Xbox Live memberships or even Game Pass that are already, or even any included games that usually come with a newly purchased console, Microsoft is starting a new program called Digital Direct, which will embed that content directly on the console itself. So once you redeem the items or services, you will find them under My Games and Apps. Now, one thing to remember when you're setting up the console is whatever account you use first to redeem this stuff on, it will be attached to that account. So make sure that once you download this stuff or you bring it up, it's on the account that you're going to be using and not possibly somebody else. Also, if you don't want to redeem anything right away, all you have to do is find a menu option labeled, quote, included with this Xbox, end of quote, or you can find that same option in your library under the, quote, full library tab, end of quote. Now, this is something really, really interesting. That was one thing when you got a new system. And we know this has started this generation. When I got my Xbox One, it came with Assassin's Creed, Unity. It came with, two other games as well, and Xbox Live at the time. And having to type in those codes, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Doesn't take up that much time. But, if you got to sit there and type it in, click, 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 that can get a little tiresome for some people. But having this new option where you don't have to worry about it, it's already embedded in the console. Once you turn the console on, you're connected to the online aspect of it. You look up, bam, there's all of the stuff right there. Just hit the button to redeem it and it's already done. That is fantastic. Now everything has a downside to it. The only thing is, let's say you already had a certain game or you're paid up on your Game Pass for the next year or two or whatever, and this free maybe month of Game Pass that came in the box is there and you really don't need to use it. It's no way of giving it away to somebody else. The codes are dead. They are gone. If it was a game that you weren't interested in and it was a pack-in, it's no way to give away the code. So that's a bit of the downside to it, but the upside is at least you don't have to worry about typing in codes and, all of that stuff. You just jump right in. The content is right there and you can move forward with your day or the service that you're already signed up for. But let's go ahead and move on to the next story. So let's talk about Ubisoft. Now, as always, when we're talking about rumors, let's remember, because my goodness, I have been wrong about a lot of the rumors I've reported on. So like always, take it with a mustard seed of truth. So according to GameReactor.dk via Tweaktown, he believes Far Cry 6 will be revealed this year. Now, quote, the last Ubisoft game scheduled to be released before April, unless Ubisoft decides it's this game that should be postponed due to COVID-19, or that there are too many AAA releases in a fairly short window. It is set to be a Far Cry, it's supposed to be I wrote this horribly wrong, so pardon me. It's set to be Far Cry. Now he says, I don't want to ruin Ubisoft's plans by giving you all the information, but I can say with certainty that those of you who didn't like Far Cry 5's North American setting are likely to find this game more interesting when it's officially unveiled during Ubisoft Forward on July 12th. What? July? Oh, shucks. Okay. He says, so if this is true, it will be a cross-gen title or a next-gen only title. So he's not sure. He doesn't know. But yeah, Far Cry 6 possibly coming out. I tell you, Far Cry 5, I was not really interested in that game at all. I mean, the cult kind of a setting, it seemed very, very interesting. This joke, I am your father, sound like Darth Vader out this mother lover. I didn't really care about it until I caught it on sale. I'm starting to really see a pattern of myself. If it's a game that I'm real leery on, and I do, it looks interesting, but not to the point where I want to pay $60. I'll wait for it to go on sale. And I gotta say, God dog, Far Cry 5, whoo! That game shocked me. I had no idea what to expect. Man, I'm still playing through it. I ain't finished it. Nope, not yet. But good grief, the gameplay is great. The story is very, very interesting. I mean, the graphics, man, that game looks good. And the physics on the character models, when you shoot them and they fall off. Man, it looks so good. That game was great. It's been great. I can't say it was because I ain't finished it. But man, what a really good game, man. I would say anybody out there that hasn't tried it, if you're on the fence, like I say, get it at a price point where you're not going to feel jacked or robbed if it doesn't turn out to be what you thought it was going to be. That game was good. It's been good. Like I said, I think I paid $30 for it, and good grief, it's been worth every last cent that I've paid for it. I have thoroughly enjoyed that game, man. But Far Cry 6, we'll have to see. This guy says he seems to believe that if you didn't like the setting in North America, then this one, you're going to love it. That's what it seems like, but he doesn't want to spoil it. Anyway, let's go ahead and move into the next story. So with one of the biggest games coming out this year, and possibly the game of the generation, The Last of Us Part 2, that is. People want to know what Neil Druckmann's next move will be. Well, he sat down with GQ and had this to say, and I quote, "As you start wrapping things up, creatively, there are fewer and fewer responsibilities, and my mind can't help but think about the next thing." So yeah, the next thing could be a part 3. The next thing could be some new IP. End of quote. Now, he also mentioned how many people didn't want a Last of Us sequel and thought the ending was, quote, sacred. And this is the quote he says. He says, people are always like, do another one, but focus on all new characters, or like do it in like Europe, or do it in Japan. Do something really different. To me, at that point, you might as well do a new IP. End of quote. So for anybody, basically, Neil Druckmann is saying for any of you guys to say you want a Last of Us, but you don't want the Last of Us that you've been getting. You want it to be over in Japan. You want it to happen in the Alp Mountains or doggone down in the Sahara Desert. Guess what? That ain't happening, because that is not the Last of Us's format. If it comes to that point, I'd rather work on a brand new IP. So here we have Neil Druckmann. He's saying that, look, we could be getting The Last of Us 3. I don't know. Fireworks have just been everywhere about this game. This game has gotten a 96 on Metacritic. I thought it was going to get a 94. I was saying it was going to get a 93. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to be confident. Give it a 94. That Joker got a 9.6. God dog. How many games are getting a 96 for the sequel to a game? This just shows, man, I mean, let's just take a second out here. This shows how talented, how amazingly talented Naughty Dog is. I mean, we've seen this. This isn't new to Naughty Dog. I mean, we saw it with Uncharted 1 to the leap of Uncharted 2, but everybody can say Uncharted was a really solid game. I don't know if people called it an amazing game, but you have the jump from, okay, part 1 to part 2 of Uncharted. That was just unbelievable. But now you have another standard where, excuse me, I had to belch, y'all, pardon me. But you have The Last of Us. That was the game of the generation. Last generation, and people were so high on the game, how great the story was, how the gameplay was, the characters. People absolutely loved the game out the gate. It wasn't mediocre, lukewarm like Uncharted, the first one, was. Out the gate, people loved this game, and now all of a sudden, you're coming back with a sequel that a lot of people didn't even think was necessary. A lot of people said that ending, just like he said himself, Neil Druckmann, that ending was, quote, sacred to a lot of people. So they didn't want a Last of Us sequel. This was one of the biggest gambles I think that Naughty Dog has ever done, and they topped expectations. They topped them to a 96. How do you do that? That is unbelievable. So, I mean, I know Neil Druckmann, he had said that, don't worry, guys, we're going to take care of it. You guys are going to love it. It's going to be great. We're taking our time with it. We're making sure that we give you the game that we know you guys want. Whew. This is unbelievable, man. Good gosh. Sony, they have a powerhouse in Naughty Dog. This is unbelievable. I don't know. I mean, when have you seen that before? A game with so much hype behind it, so much to lose, so many people that are saying they don't want a sequel, and has so much stacked against it to actually not only do just as good as the previous game, but exceed it. Unbelievable, man. Just props to them. Props to daggone Naughty Dog, and props to Sony for giving them the time and the resources that they needed to make such an amazing game. God darn. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Oh, and also, Neil, like I said, Neil Druckmann, maybe we get a new IP too. I want to see what else they can do. I mean, we see Uncharted, they got that on lock. The Last of Us, they got that on lock. I want to see what else they can do. I was hoping to see that first person, that alleged rumored first person shooter from Naughty Dog. But now that this is wrapped up, we'll see what else they have coming down the pipe. So up next, let's talk about this, guys. Now, this one threw me for a loop, this story right here. So, like I said, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not always on top of my game. Now we have all heard of the Xbox All Access program, but correct me, any of you listeners out there, any of you great listeners out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was just available through the Microsoft store. You got to go to Microsoft and that's how you get it. But I just discovered that they now offer the Xbox All Access over on BestBuy.com. So here is the breakdown. Now, they only offer you the Xbox One S with the option to upgrade after 18 months of on-time payments. Now, it's 0% APR, and you don't have to pay anything the same day you pick it up. Now, the monthly cost, if you want to get this, is $22.99 for 24 months. And this is what it comes with. It includes 24 months of Game Pass Ultimate. Now, of course, by the time you finish paying for it, you would have spent $551.76. So you're not getting Ultimate for free, but at least it's no interest. So this is how I think Lockhart could be marketed. We see that Sony, they got two SKUs right now. We don't know what the future of Lockhart could be, but 24 months, $22.99, Game Pass Ultimate. You're coming in the door with 100 games at your disposal, and you have Xbox Live. And then after, like I said, if you keep on paying on time for 18 months, then you can upgrade. I mean, forget the Lockhart. It'd be great if you could come in, and get the Lockhart, but forget that. Get the Series X after 18 months, you upgrade. And I think it might be, now this is something I didn't read, so don't quote me verbatim on this, but I believe it's going to be like an extra $3 or $4 a month if you want to upgrade to the next tier. But now, look, if they could get this in other stores, because I started looking around, I said, well, if they have it at Best Buy, maybe they have it at Target. Nothing at Target. Maybe they have it at Walmart. Nothing at Walmart. Didn't see it anywhere. And of course, GameStop, they ain't going off anything like that. So right now, as it stands, I didn't even see something for Sam's Club. I thought maybe they would have done it. I didn't see anything. But this is something, if they could continue to get this in more stores, this all access, what a heck of a way to get somebody in the door that doesn't have that $500 or $400. I doubt if it's going to be that much, but let's just say $400 to $500 out the gate. Like I said, once you pick it up, it's zero due at the end of it. Only thing is, you got to make sure your credit is kind of decent. I mean, whatever, it can be a little shaky for some, but at $22.99, getting 24 months of Game Pass, 0% APR, this could really be, I hate to say game changer. I think I say that a little too loosely at times, but this could really be an interesting way of getting people into the ecosystem or buying the console that may have never been able to have bought one or even thought about buying one, because you're able to get in it basically $23 a month with no interest on it. So very, very interesting. But guys, let's go ahead and move on into the next story. Now let's talk about Destiny 2. So earlier this week, Mark Noseworthy confirmed that all content you own, whether past or present, all of it will be cross-gen and will be upgraded for free for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. And these upgraded versions will run at 4K and 60 frames per second. But there's more, because Noseworthy also said Destiny 2 will be intergenerational. So if you're playing on PlayStation 5, you can still run with your buddies, even if they are on a PlayStation 4, or if you're playing on Series X, you'll be able to play with your friends that are running on the Xbox One. This is, now keep in mind, look, listen. I'm not a Destiny fan. I've never played Destiny. If it was a single player campaign, I'd have probably been all over it. But I do understand that this is one of the biggest games of this generation. And the fact that Bungie is actually making it so that let me get it together. The Destiny 2 will be coming to the PlayStation 5 and Series X, and it'll be getting enhancements, 4K, 60 frames per second, and all of your content is going to carry over as well. That is awesome. And then you top that with, okay, like I just said, your friend might not have been able to upgrade. Money is tight, brother. We living in rough times right now. You know, money could be tight. And he's like, well, dag, man, you want a PS5? Hey, don't worry. We can still link up and play anyway. This is awesome. I think that right now, I'm starting to see a pattern. I'm starting to see just a little bit of a pattern here, because you see that a lot of games, they're starting to come over into the next generation, because you got GTA 5 that's coming out on the PlayStation 5, enhanced and enriched, or whatever they called it. And then, now this was funny though. This is just on the side though. Dude, Eric Greenberg said, look, man, look, I'm all happy. He did a Kanye West over on Twitter. That joker said, I'm happy that you're showing off without a hitch, Sony. That was cool and all, but GTA 5 and all of those and other games will be coming to the Xbox Series X, the most powerful console. I said, look at Erd. He getting greasy out here. Erd is out here getting real greasy, and I love it. So you have it where these different companies, now PlayStation, we don't know what their backwards compatibility is looking like. Who the heck knows? We know they mandated, or almost basically mandated, games made after a certain point. They got to work on the 5 and the 4, but it's just interesting to see. I think it's going to be a very interesting first year or two of how many games are going to carry over into the next generation with these upgrades, with these 4K textures, with these 60 frames per second. It's going to be a very, very interesting time. But nonetheless, Sony said, you ain't leaving us behind. Look, Bungie, look, make that work, brother. We need all that content on the PlayStation 5. We got to keep looking good so we can daggone compete. And that's what it's all about. Competition. As long as these two companies are at each other's throats, and that's what I want, we always come out on top as gamers. Let's go ahead and move on into the next story. Now, this is in some Mass Effect news. Now, it looks like a person that goes by the name of Eric, man, brother, I'm gonna butcher the heck out of this. Heidelback. It's spelled Hyldbakk. Heidelback? I don't know, man. I do know his first name is Eric. Eirik. Now, he has an alleged source that is telling him that the Mass Effect remaster is not only real, but is coming out this fall. Now, of course, no info was given on whether it will release on the current generation or next gen, or if it will even be cross-gen. And it didn't even talk about if the DLC would be included. I sure hope the DLC will be there. Now, who knows? Maybe the game, how amazing. Like we were just talking about Destiny. Now, this is, of course, a rumor. We've heard this time and time and time again. Everybody has a source. I'm gonna let you guys know I ain't got no sources. None at all. Only source I got is daggone Google and the internet. That's my only source. So I don't want you guys to think I'm an insider. I ain't got no connections. But we have heard time and time again that these people always say I got a source here and there, and then it never turns out to be true. This Mass Effect thing, this might have some weight to it because like we were talking about, I've been talking about this for weeks, that EA has already said that they have some remasters in the works. They're not saying which ones are which, but how amazing would it be? This game comes out 60 frames per second at 4K textures, just like I was talking about with Destiny. This could be amazing. Now, once again, I'm going to stand on my square, people. I know this is the game that everybody wants. Everybody wants to see Commander Shepard and all of his crew come back in glorious 4K, 60 frames per second. But me, I still want Dead Space. We can have both. Come on, EA. Bring out Dead Space for me. Do one for the Gipper, brother. God, dog. But this is going to be great if it does happen. I'm sure everybody is going to cheer in the stands, and oh my gosh, it came back like it's a brand new game, and I'm gonna probably be right there with y'all. But we will see. We know that EA's event is coming up very, very soon, and man, we ain't got much longer to wait to see if this rumor turns out to be true. 4K 60 frames per second. Whoa, wait. Let's go ahead and move in to, again, now this is some more rumors. Now, let me see. Now, rumors are starting to come out. Oh, man. They're starting to come out about Microsoft's strategy when it comes to the alleged Lockhart console. So, this is from alleged leaker at Iron Man PlayStation 5, who says, and I quote, Microsoft will launch Xbox Series X worldwide in 2021. And will make Xbox Series S available in North America, Europe, and the United Kingdom at a recommended retail price, wait for this, of $399. Now, this guy at Iron Man PS5 is also saying that the Series X will release 2 weeks before PlayStation 5, and that release date is going to be November 6th. So this right here, once again, rumors, people don't believe it. Take it with a grain of salt. We're just having conversations here. Now, if this is true, does this ding the Lockhart a little bit? Because everybody has been thinking and saying for a long time now, months upon months, that the Lockhart is going to release at $299. Is it possible that Microsoft could release a console that is not as powerful as the Series X, that is not as powerful as the PlayStation 5? Could they release a console that's in between both of those as far as power goes, the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, at $399? Will anyone buy that? Now, I have to say, Microsoft has shocked me before when they came out with that all digital Xbox the Sad Edition. Nobody thought that was going to sell. And I got a shout out for Tay. He's a brother that works over at GameStop. He said that thing was flying off the shelves. He couldn't believe it that so many units were moved off of the shelves. So, I mean, here you have it again. Microsoft possibly, nothing has been confirmed. This is still rumors. Microsoft possibly doing another move where they're doing the midway point of a console midway point as far as power goes, and selling it at $399. Does this work? And it's coming out in 2021. It's not this year, it's next year. I don't know. It's a heck of a possible strategy. Do I believe that this is true? I gotta say, I don't believe it, but I mean, coming out in 2021 at 400, I don't know, man. I don't know how that's going to work. But he also said that the Series X is going to come out 2 weeks before the PlayStation 5, meaning it's going to release November 6th. Now, of course, PlayStation hasn't given a release date. They've only said a window, holiday 2020 pretty much. And Microsoft darn sure hasn't given a release date. They even, just to talk about November for a second, they even took that alleged November release off the board. So I don't know if at Iron Man PlayStation 5 is very reliable, but this is what he's saying. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I don't think it's going to happen like this, but I don't know if Sony threw Microsoft off with that all digital. I don't know. We gonna see. But let's go ahead and move into some more quick news though. Control is, Remedy Entertainment, they announced, and I quote, "We're glad to be able to share that at Control, Remedy will be coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. More details coming at a later date, hashtag PlayStation 5, hashtag Xbox Series X," end of quote. So this week we have seen time and time again that of course not time and time again, but we've seen it with Destiny 2, this alleged Mass Effect trilogy that could be coming out, and now we have a confirmed game, another one with Control, where Remedy are saying that that both versions, whether it's on the Xbox or the PlayStation, they will carry over to the Series X and the PlayStation 5. Now, I have to believe Control has been great so far, too. I've taken about a week and a half off of that game. I think after I finish recording, I'm going up there and play that. But I'll say this. Again, we see it. Could this be another situation? 60 frames per second, 4K. I think this is the... Now, I mean, look, sometimes I speak and I'm not always right. I know I'm not. But I have to say that this seems like the first time. Matter of fact, I have to believe that this is the first time we've ever seen anything like this. Games being enhanced into the next generation, them carrying these games over, and not just carrying them over, but giving enhancements, bringing all of your content with you onto the next generation. This is the beauty of x86 architecture. You don't have to worry about any boundaries. You just take that stuff and flip it right over to the next generation. And once again, like I said, Control is another game. This game already has amazing physics in it. It already looks great. I can only imagine what it can look like at 60 frames per second, because right now I'm running it on the Xbox. I'm running it on the thick bone. The Xbox thick bone launch edition, brother. Yeah, I'm running it on the old hardware. And this joker's still moving around real smooth. I mean, the gameplay is crispy clean. I can only imagine what this game would play like on a Series X or a PlayStation 5 when it comes to the frames per second, the smoothness of how the game feels, and the graphical fidelity. I am excited. Let's go ahead. Matter of fact, now, wait a minute. I do want to point this out. I don't know if this is free. I'm sure they're going to make it free, but they did not say it was going to be a free upgrade. They did say more details coming at a later date. We will see. I have to believe it's going to be a free update though. But let's go ahead. Now, next up, we gotta talk about Hellblade 2. Ooh, buddy. Because we got some news this week about the game via Xbox Wire, where the article said, and I quote, "The power of Xbox Series X was first demonstrated with the unveiling of Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. The team will be building the game," listen to this, "on Unreal 5 and leveraging the power of Xbox Series X to bring the Hellblade franchise to levels never seen before. The footage shown was captured in-engine and reflects the power of Xbox Series X, available to developers to deliver new universes, experiences, and games in ways you have never imagined." End of quote. Man, let me tell you, like I said, it was just a small morsel of news, but we saw that Unreal Engine 5, man. We saw the engine running in alleged real time. I'm going to believe that was real time. I don't think it was just something crazy that couldn't be done. And we have seen Hellblade 2 already at the VGAs when they showed that trailer off. And here, once again, in the Xbox Wire article, they have said again, that was running, that was captured in engine and reflects the power of Xbox Series X. This game being built on the Unreal Engine 5 engine? Oh my goodness. I look, man, we know any of you guys that played the original Hellblade, that game was boring. There was a lot of looking puzzles. It wasn't a whole lot of action, but when the action did get started, man, I had a ball with it. But it's one thing you gotta say about that game. It was beautiful. They made that game on what was it? A $10 million budget, a shoestring budget. I mean, if they did that with $10 million, Ninja Theory, then this, look, I can only imagine Microsoft is opening up the checkbook. If that was the real time engine being shown, when we saw Senua and her yelling and screaming, and you could see like a face textures. Oh man, it just looked amazing. And you mean to tell me that they're using the Unreal 5 engine? We could be in for a major treat when it comes to this game. I am excited. You know what? I know that I'm wishing on a star with this. I know I am, guys, and I know it's probably not gonna happen, but I think Senua Sacrifice, it needs to be, Senua Saga, my bad. It needs to be the Hellblade 2. We need to see something on that game that is real time. I think we need that. We need it. It's something that I think it could be. If it's what they said it is, this could be a graphical showpiece. I mean, man, this is just great news. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Are we coming towards the end of the game in news? Yeah, we ain't got too much further to go, guys. Let's go ahead and get into the next story. Now, and what I thought was the biggest twist in Sony's show, man, they showed off and I just talked about this, but they showed off the all digital PlayStation 5 model, and people started wondering, is this because of the price purposes or what? Is the prices going to be high? Is this a cheaper model? What's going on with this? Well, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan sat down with CNET to explain why Sony is releasing a digital only console. Now, Ryan said, and I quote, "We're just acknowledging here that as time passes, our community is becoming more digital oriented." End of quote. Now to back that claim up, that's right, he had pointed out that in the first quarter of 2020, 66% of PlayStation 4 games were sold digitally. Now, of course, I don't know, that's a little fudging of the numbers because we know why that is, because of COVID-19 has something to do with it. But anyway, I digress. But Ryan continued to say, and I quote, "People increasingly, as they are with their music and their video, they prefer digital, and we want to recognize that." I'm messing this all up. End of quote. Now, this is where it gets very interesting because Jim Ryan said the regular PlayStation 5 with a disc drive and the disc-free model are, quote, identical products, end of quote, outside of the small difference of in-form factor, which means they just have a different shape. One has the disc slot and the other doesn't. So we see Jim Ryan He's going with the, hey, look, this is the future. This is where gaming is headed. We want to make sure that we give our customers that option of, if you want to go all digital, this model is for you. Just like a lot of people are going digital with their music and their videos, their movie videos, then hey, we just are giving you the option. But once again, I think he just debunked whether or not this is a cheaper model, because he said that both of those, the disc-free and the disc model, are identical products. Now, how do you market that? Well, as far as price goes, can you take off so much money? Can you take off $100 for a discless PlayStation 5 versus having a disc in the PlayStation 5, a disc tray of Blu-ray? I don't know. People are talking about that might save $30. Nothing extremely cost effective if you're trying to get it down to that magic $399 price point. Now, I'm gonna say this, guys. Now, I'm about to go out on a major limb here, and I'm gonna say I don't know. I have no information about this. I don't know if this is true. This is just a hunch, and I could be so far left with my thinking on this. But if you guys remember, when they were unveiling the PlayStation 5, showing it off, oh man, look beautiful, nice clean lines, real curvy. I liked it a whole lot. Did you guys see that once they showed the digital version, the all digital version, then they showed the headphones, they showed the camera off, and they showed the remote. Now look, listen, I understand it probably wasn't another time where they could have showed those three products off separately, where it could have had as much impact as it did unveiling those products off while they were showing off the new console. But I want to just propose a theory to you brothers and sisters out there on how I feel about this. Now, we've heard, good grief, I saw online, I don't want to believe that these prices are true, on Amazon UK, somewhere where the PlayStation 5, and hopefully it's just a price holder spot, they were saying this thing is going to be $700. Now, I can't imagine that Sony would be that crazy. And these articles that are coming up, Jim Ryan is always talking about the quality of the product, but never price. He's putting an emphasis on the quality of what you can expect to get with the PlayStation 5, which usually when a person is talking about quality of something, it means it's going to cost. Now, hear me out. $700, I don't know. But I'm going to say that may be possible, because think about it. Two different models, okay? Discless and with a disc. Now, let's just say the discless model, that's what you get. It doesn't have the disc drive, you're good. But when they showed off the headphones, the camera, the remote, what if that is an option with one of the PlayStation 5s? Let's just say, okay, if you want to get all three of those things in the box, they can include it in the box for $700. Is that a way of them making sure that you feel like you're getting the value for your buck? Would you be happy with that? Now, we know that Microsoft, they caught all kinds of fire for having the Kinect in the box. They were forcing it. People didn't like it. It upped the price an extra $100 because the Kinect was in the box. But here you have Sony, two different models. Could it be possible that they include those headphones, that camera, and that remote in one of the models, and that's the $700 model that we've been hearing about? Or could you get it without any of the accessories included, and that would be the $500 model. I don't know. I have no idea. That's just what I'm thinking. When they showed it off with the console, I said, man, is this a pack-in? Is this a possible bundle that they're selling? And if it is a bundle, then that $700 price point would make a little bit more sense, because you're getting I could care less about a remote. I mean, who gives a darn about that? But you're getting these headphones that they're talking about, the sound in the PlayStation 5 is so amazing. You're getting those included and that HD camera. We'll have to see, man. We'll have to see how this comes out. I'm telling you, this console war, this upcoming war, yes, it is going to be very, very interesting. They beat Microsoft to the punch. How does Microsoft counter? Will they counter with a cheaper price point? Will they bring out the Lockhart? Will they keep it tucked until 2021? So many questions along with so many different strategies. Microsoft taking a new route, having you be able to bring your old games up to date with the new hardware, increasing the frame rates on older games, putting HDR in them. Then you have PlayStation 5 talking about we're moving forward with what's going on with the current generation. Oh man, man, it's gonna be a heck of a fight, man. Things are really going to heat up. And Microsoft, the ball is in your court. And I want to say, before I move on, I think Sony left the door open. They left the door open for Microsoft to come in and really do some damage when it comes to their show. If Microsoft can stay focused, if they can show off Halo is the key. They show that off without a hitch, and it looks amazing. It looks like it's a must-have game, and you're only going to get that graphical fidelity, that frames per second, that 4K, that HDR, only on the Series X. It could be a game changer. They show off Fable, they show off Joanna Dark, and maybe one more AAA game. Hellblade 2, I think they could really do some good for themselves with their upcoming July show. But we'll have to see. We'll have to stay tuned. Let's go ahead and jump back into some Last of Us 2 news. Now, if you guys were interested in the length of the game, I'm sure you guys probably have already seen this, but I thought I would just point it out. Through a regular playthrough, it looks like the game it clocked in at around 25 hours for the average playthrough. God darn. That's a nice length. Now, if you want to fully complete the game, get all of the collectibles and run through everything and get the platinum in the game, which I will never get, that's going to range from 30 to 35 hours. Sheesh. This game is a very, very nice length. I mean, shout out to Naughty Dog. I propped them up earlier in the show. It's no need to go into propping them up again for a second time. But, Last of Us 2, quite possibly, Game of the Year, winner already. And we haven't even seen the rest of the competition yet. I don't know what can top it. The only other game that I think that has a chance, just a remote chance of topping it, would be, and you guys know too, Cyberpunk 2077. Man, we'll have to see if CD Projekt Red can really step up to the plate and do their best work to date. We'll see what's going on with that. Anyway, moving on. No, that's it. That's the end. That's the end of the gaming news this week. Wow. We went through. That kind of caught me off guard. Now, guys, we have been here almost an hour and a half, brother. Woo-hoo-hoo! Don't worry, I'll make sure that I put the timestamp at the beginning in case people want to fast forward. But, to the gaming news section. But let's go ahead and get into the question of the week, because, man, we got some very, very interesting news. I always say it's interesting news. Sound like a broken record. I sure do. But this week, this was something very interesting, because it looks like WB, we might have a reason why the Batman game hasn't been shown as of late. And matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and get into not the question of the week, but I want to get into the article. Now, Warner Brothers Interactive. Now, like I said, well, I've read all of that. Okay. Here we go. Now, it says, okay. And yeah, okay. Now this is a report from CNBC that parent company AT&T is looking into selling off the WB Interactive division for $4 billion. God darn. Now this would include, now you gotta listen to what this deal would include. Whoever gets this acquisition, this is what would be included in it. They would get the talent from Warner Brothers Montreal. They would get NetherRealm and Rocksteady. Those talented studios. Once again, Warner Brothers Montreal, NetherRealm, and Rocksteady. Also inside of the report, it said Activision, Blizzard, Take-Two Interactive, and EA are all interested in this, but no deal has been made yet. Now you guys know where I'm going. You guys know I'm an Xbox fan at my heart. I love PlayStation, Nintendo, they doing great. But Xbox is the controller that I like in my hand most. Now, I want to ask you guys, is it possible for Microsoft, since they are the ones that need I'm not going to say they need the talent. They got 15 studios right now. I mean, good grief. That's not a small amount. But man, here you have in this deal, $4 billion. This would include Mortal Kombat, the license to Mortal Kombat. This would include the Batman Arkham series, as well as they even got some rights, the Warner Brothers Interactive game group. They have rights to the Lego games. We're talking Marvel Legos. We're talking Batman Lego. Even Harry Potter is in here somewhere. It is a lot of IPs and studios in this whole bubble of what is WB Interactive. So, would it be possible for Microsoft to buy WB Interactive? It's up for sale. Here you have, already told you the guys that are looking at it, Activision, Blizzard, Take-Two Interactive, and EA. I mean, is it possible for Microsoft to pick these guys up? I would love to get you guys answers and your feedback. And you can do that two different ways, either by calling in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard. Or you can email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. We were here for a whole hour and 30 minutes, god dang. Man, oh man. Well, guys, like I say, man, this has been fantastic. I absolutely love doing the podcast. It's great to sit back, talk with you guys about this gaming news, that just a hobby that I love most, man. And I just truly appreciate the support from you guys on a weekly basis. It truly means a lot. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But before we get out of here, guys, always remember, it is not about the consoles, brothers and sisters. It is about the games. So until next week, when we do it again, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.